Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Super excited. Wow. Super excited. How are you guys doing? It's great to be here. Great to be here. I was just chatting with our guest in the background, and we're just having great moments, exchanging compliments. You're gonna see why very shortly. You're gonna see why very shortly. Well, how are you doing this evening? It's a beautiful evening, and I'm super excited. I feel very excited at all that we can share today. How are you guys doing? Just very shortly, I'll be asking you where you're chatting us, where you're watching from. Uh, but our guest is ready. But we're just gonna give a couple of minutes to share with to just get familiar with everyone who's in on the call at the moment. I'd like you, if you're watching, I can see a couple of people are already getting on the call. If you're watching, just say an hello from wherever it is you are. Say hi from wherever. There's a comment button just um, right there. You can use it. Just say hi. I can see Gus Power. I hope I spelled this right. Gus Power Ungo Rogu. I hope I got this right. Um, Says he's anticipating, and he's got that little emoji there that says we are super anticipating as well. We're excited at all a session like this could mean, for traders at whatever level, whether you're new or you're an existing trader. Just for us to, in a little more relaxed environment, not quite as serious as the traditional trainings or strategy sessions that traders usually get engaged with. Okay, so I can also see Mr. Michael. Okay, I hope I spelled that right. Okay, I don't know if he's okay or okay. Mr. Michael, hi to you. How are you doing? I trust you're doing okay. We're super excited to have you here with us, and we're looking forward to a great couple of. So, if you're just joining us, we this is the first. This is actually the first session of the Traders Hangout. I mean, by Swably Markets, and it's the general concept behind it is to just share real life stories of traders, people who are involved in the business of forex trading, and to get everyone to learn from their experience. Okay, Mr. Ogbonna James says hi. Hello to you as well. I can see Mr. Usman Aruna. Hello to you. Where are you watching us from? I'd appreciate if you can just leave a comment. Uh, just say, hey, I'm watching you from wherever it is you are. It'd be interesting to see and to hear. So I can also see Peaceful Rhythm. Peaceful Rhythm. I kind of like that name, Peaceful Rhythm. Uh, okay. Hi. So Mr. Aaron says you're watching us from Kogi State. Lovely. Mr. Cosmos Udom's great to have you here again. Good evening to you. How are you doing? I know that you've been on our previous session, so I'm super excited to have you here. Very shortly, in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be bringing up our guests, and we're going to have an amazing time where we share some of the realities of trading. The realities, trading is usually a very private affair. You could be trading, and people around you don't really know what it is you're doing. So it's very important for us to build the right communities as traders, to engage with ourselves, to be able to learn from each other, to be able to experience, sharing our experiences. Okay, Mr. Michael. Okay, you're here in Abuja. Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. You're reaching us from Abuja, so we can see. We also have Mr. Luca Ishaya from Bauchi. So got quite a pretty sort of spread. We've got an interesting spread here. We also got Mr. Gaspar from Imo State. Wonderful. So this is just beautiful. So very shortly, we're going to be bringing on the guest in the next a minute or thereabout. She's already in the background. She's looking stunning, by the way, and she's, I'm just so looking forward to hearing her. Now, I'm going to in the next sort of minutes or thereabout, I'm going to be just introducing our guest, just sort of introducing her and just trying to get you to know her a little bit more. So Nancy is, for me, I always like to, share the success stories in Forex. I like to share the stories of people who I see that are doing great things. And she's just one of those people. I mean, I've watched in such a fascinating way how she's grown within the markets and all of the things that she's able to do right now. As you probably saw in the section where we introduced okay, Mr. I don't know if it's a Mr. though, but Mr. Yusuf Ibrahim. Okay, definitely it's got to be a Mr. Hello, thanks. We also got Mr. Oladapo. You are reaching us from Ilorin. Wonderful. It's a very interesting spread that we have different places. Actually, you would have thought that maybe we would have had a little bit more concentration here in Abuja. So, okay, so I was just sharing about our guest today, and just to let you know that everyone can do big things within this industry. Big things, Mr. Ungwoko Daniel. You're watching us live from Abuja. Wonderful. So I was just sharing that one of the amazing things that I personally have experienced is just the growth. How she's been able to grow and all the things that she's able to do right now. It inspires me. It just inspires me as well. Just so Nancy is a very respected market analyst. She trades price action. If you're a trader, you're gonna know a little bit more about price action, the difference between price action and indicator trading. So she trades price action, and she's now a trading mentor, developing her community of traders. She's also running IForex. Nancy, I hope I got that right. I can see you in the background. I'm gonna bring you on very shortly. So it's super amazing to see. I'm gonna bring it on right now. So Nancy, get ready to share with our guest. I'm to share with our guest here. Okay, so I'm bringing Nancy on. Hi, Nancy. How are you doing? It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. How are you doing? You're looking stunning, by the way. You're looking stunning.
Thank you.
Okay. I mean, it's very evident that forex does pay the bills, right? I mean, you can't look this stunning without the bills being paid properly. So
Yeah.
okay. All right, wonderful. So Nancy, I was just sharing with our audience, just sharing about just your story, and later, very shortly, we're going to be getting into that story, because the whole essence of this Traders Hangout is for us to just sort of hang out and just share experiences, maybe share a little bit of our stories and a couple of tips on how we can optimize this business that we all have gotten involved with. Okay, not quite sure what happened. Okay, all right, beautiful. So that's just we'll begin from a little bit of history. I mean, you don't find quite a lot of females. I mean, that's something I usually notice, especially when I take my trading classes, my mentorship programs. I usually see a whole lot more male than female. So it's beautiful to see. Just show me your just your journey, how it was, for the sake of everyone who's listening. How did you get involved in trading? I mean, what was your initial perception about the business when what's the story there?
All right. There's always this exciting thing about taking that route that everybody else just turns around from.
Yeah.
So there aren't many ladies in this industry, and it
Yeah.
actually made it really interesting on my end. So
Yeah.
Starting off this career, taking on forex and deciding to learn it was something I actually developed over time because initially, yeah, I was in the shoes of those other ladies who wouldn't want to even dare do this. So it
Yeah.
was something that developed, and the interest grew over time, and then I decided to actually see this thing and really give it an opportunity. You know,
Yeah.
get them. Yeah.
Yeah. So usually, I mean, a lot of people are just getting involved in Forex. They get very, very scared at how much information it appears like one needs to know. You just stare at the charts and you think to yourself, oh my God, I mean, how do I even get started with this? So a lot of people who are just new to Forex, just get that. Did you have that experience as well when you started out? I mean, and what's the story down there?
Of course, yeah, I had that same experience. Actually, when I started, I actually started with a certain company. So I was driving with a friend one day, and I heard over the radio where someone was at a seminar for a forex seminar. So I actually
Yeah.
became interested because of what she was saying. She said she's
Yeah.
able to make $100 every day. So I was like, that's really interesting. I mean, there's no job in Nigeria that pays you $100 every day. So I
Yeah.
was really interested in it. So I
Yeah.
decided to attend the seminar.
Okay. All right. I'm not quite sure. Nancy was talking about.
Interesting. Then I
Yeah.
decided, yeah. So actually, I paid for everything that they asked me to pay for, and then they gave me a whole lot of courses to study, plenty of stuff that were really looking alien because I have not been into this before. So these things actually look very strange to
Yeah.
me. I tried, I lost that interest that was there in the beginning. But then along the line, I decided to pick it up again with a different perspective and a different look at things. So I started studying, and then it turned out this way.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. That story is super exciting because a lot of the times, a lot of folks who get involved in Forex, you hear amazing stuff. I mean, if you think about earning $100 every day. I mean, you just think about hearing that. I'm pretty sure you'd have done the maths and said, hey, if I could earn $100 every day, if you take 30 days in a 30 days in a month, and wow, I mean, if I could compound that, I'm going to be pretty rich in a short space of time. I'm pretty sure you thought about that, right?
Very, very correct.
Okay,
Yeah, I did.
so it's clearly been a journey for you, going past that period where the initial excitement about, I mean, for instance, I see your price action analysis and I'm super, super amazed at the kind of price action analysis. I see a lot of times, the before and the after of some of those analyses. And I'm thinking to myself, this is remarkable growth. So obviously that sort of initial excitement, there would be something like, that initial excitement. But moving beyond that point of that initial excitement, moving to the point where you are now actually doing this, you're actually stable with this, tell us a little bit about the journey, about going from that point of excitement with typical marketing around Forex, because we have a lot of that. We have tons of marketing around Forex, to actually being that trader who's able to get in the market, do that analysis and put things together. I mean, just share a little bit about that process and maybe a couple of tips that folks who get started, who are sort of somewhat excited, but how do they get to that point, basically?
All right. So I had to actually understand the fact that for me to actually get to that point where I would be able to boast of how much I'm making from trading the forex market every day, I have to
Yeah.
actually put in time and work in learning the skill itself. I had to invest in the process because initially I was just all about the profit. I was just all about the profit, how much I can make in a day, how much I can make in a week. I was never paying attention to, okay, actually coming to learn these things. You understand, like getting to understand the process and how things work. So I had to bury that thought of making all the money in 1 week, 2 weeks, 24 hours. I had to bury that thought and actually put in effort in learning how to really understand the market and be able to trade profitably. Because unless you do that, unless you invest in the process, the profit is not going to come. But when you invest in the process, the profit will come as side effects. So I had to understand that this is really what I had to do. So I sat down, I took time. I didn't trade. I didn't trade while I was learning. I didn't trade. I was only practicing on demo. I didn't fund any life account like many people would do. I didn't trade
Yeah.
at all. I just put in the time into learning and learning as
Yeah.
much as I can. I wanted to become the best trader that I can be, not the richest trader.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean that's an interesting thing to say. I mean, because a lot of people think that the best traders are the richest traders. Now, by the way, guys, if you're listening in, this is a traders hangout. But at whatever point you can just post in comments. I'll make sure that I connect that comment. I'll put up the comment on the chat, or if you have contributions, just put it up. It's a hangout. So you could just put it up. So back to what we were saying, Nancy. Remember, like you said something pretty interesting just now. You said focusing on the best trader that you can be. That's an interesting thing to say. So a lot of people don't know how to distinguish between being the richest trader or that you can be. I mean, there's a lot of hype in Forex and being the best trader that you can be. What would you say like the key differences between just being the richest trader or posting up videos of how much you've made and whatnot, and actually being the best trader? What would you say that to a lot of people who are sort of like it's still excited about the amount that people can make, still excited about the money, okay, to think about Forex and think about all the money. Of course, I mean, this is really why a lot of people are trading in the first place. We want to make profit. But what would you
Yeah.
say would be those things that differentiate us from that knowledge of being the best trader that you can be and being the richest?
All right. The thing is, anyone can become a rich trader, but not everyone can become a good trader. You see, the thing with becoming a rich trader and becoming a good trader, what differentiates them is the knowledge, the education, and the skill set of the market. Because a rich trader could be copying signals from other people, and he has the money, of course. So he's trading with a big account, copying signals from other people, and making big profits. And
Yeah,
he's more likely to become very rich.
yeah,
Not need to copy others. He has learned how to generate his own signals. You see, in this industry, there are many people that actually start this thing. Many people start, but not everybody finish. Why? Because most of them they start and maybe they start with a friend or someone in their peer group or something, and then they're doing it together, and then before you know, one of them is making money already, while the other one is not making money because he is probably still focusing on learning. But the other person is already signed up in many signal groups, copying signals and making money. So the other guy might want to get discouraged because his friend is already making money, but he isn't. And he might start to lose focus actually learning and trying to do what his friend is doing just because of the money. Whereas he is the one that is doing the right thing. Because the right thing is to give it time, invest in learning the skill set, invest in the process before looking into the profit. Because when the process is there, when you invest in the process, when you learn the skill set, then the profit will come. No matter, it might take time, yes, but then everything in life needs time to actually grow and germinate into something profitable. So a
yeah,
good trader, someone who could actually confidently trade the market, generate his own signals, and trade the market with a good risk management. Whereas
yeah,
the other guy who is just a rich trader could be rich because he's copying other people's signals. And
yeah,
what makes you a trader is not copying people's signal. I don't see someone that is copying signal as a forex trader
yeah.
actually.
Yeah. So, just to contribute to that, because also, I mean, in a lot of my mentorship sessions, I always tell people to focus on learning, focus on learning. I mean, I really love this statement. I can't even expound on it. I don't know how much more I can expound on this statement, this phrase that you just mentioned. Focus on being a good trader. I'm not the richest trader. because there are a lot of dimensions to this, a lot of dimensions to this statement. A lot of traders, for instance, who get very excited, just sort of very excited about Ferrari pictures, about, Guinea. I mean, we see that stuff online. We see that now get to their own personal trading account and begin to try to live out that dream. Do you understand what I'm saying, Nancy? You see a lot of people who are on their personal trading accounts who are trying to live out the dreams that they see out there, as opposed as a trader, doing the actual job of checking out, looking at your account, taking the best opportunity, focus on taking the best opportunities, trading your trade plan, ensuring that you stick to your prior trading plan, the trading plan that you set out to start with, as well as ensuring that you always consistently optimize your risk management process. So on the one hand, you have those traders who are like trading a dream. You know what I'm saying? They are projecting their dreams and their aspirations and imaginations into the market. As opposed, those traders, I'm going to put this up again because Mr. Cosmos here just captured it succinctly, like what we're talking about. And we cannot overemphasize that. And I'm sure you agree with me, Nancy, that the focus on being a good trader has to now be about how you look at your learning. You constantly improve on your learning, constantly say, oh, okay, this is where I was before, but this is where I am right now, and constantly work on developing and optimizing your trading process. Right, Nancy?
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So for you personally, on an individual level, because at the end of the day, trading is very individual. Trading is something that you don't do with your community. You don't do it with your friends, really. You do it by yourself. What would you say that helped you in actually deciding, or helped you in actually sticking with focusing on being a good trader? Okay, how were you able to remove all of those excitement? How did you get past that?
Okay. I had to actually come to the realization that what's the need chasing something that is most likely to be? What's the need wanting to become rich in 24 hours when I can actually when I actually have, years ahead to become that same person? So there wasn't need to be in a hurry. There wasn't need to want to make the millions in a day when I know that this is something that I can actually make, in years, in a longer time period. So it helps me to get rid of that gamblish mentality, that is wanting to jumping into the market because I want to make profits, and then, trading with a 50-50 mindset or something. So it helped me to get rid of it because I knew that if I learn this process, then it can actually pay my bills for a longer period of time. But if I don't learn it, then I can only make what I see now. That is if I even make it, if I'm able to make it. So there wasn't really any need to be in a hurry. I had to realize that I should take time to actually ground myself properly before indulging in this thing.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to a bit more practicals now. Can you hear me, Nancy?
Yes, I can.
All right. So let's move on to a little bit more practical, slightly more practical parts of trading right now. I noticed that in your trading, well, I've been seeing a lot of before and after some of the price action analysis, and like I said, I'm super impressed. I'm impressed because, and trust me, I don't get impressed easily. It takes a lot to impress me from traders, but I am impressed, and this is actually one of the reasons why I decided to share with you on this session. Because ultimately our focus is growth as traders. Okay, our focus is ensuring that we improve consistently over time. We should not be the same trader we were 6 months ago. If you're trading and you've not developed beyond what you started out with, your outcomes are not better than what you were 6 months ago, what you were even 3 months ago. It means you're not learning. And let's talk a little bit about the art of even learning from your own trading. I've noticed that a lot of traders don't even know how to learn from their trading, largely due to poor journaling. Okay, so this thing about creating a journal and following a journal, recording your trade, so you can have like a series of information, I mean, an amount of data from your previous trades, so that you can now learn from those trades and can now be better. What would you say about how do you feel about how many traders just sort of don't care about this, don't really implement this? Because in actual fact, I actually see a lot of traders who don't do that. What would be your viewpoint as to so many traders who don't really care? Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't really care about, following up. Yeah.
All right. So one thing is journaling and self-review is very vital to becoming a good trader. Because if you don't journal, if you don't keep records of your trades, how would you be able to find out mistakes that you've made? How would you be able, because you can only make corrections when you find mistakes, right? So that is why journaling is very, very important. Taking down notes or screenshots of your trades when you're entering the trade, taking notes of your entries, your management, your exit, and then at the end of the day, maybe some traders decide to do this all week. They have journals. It could be electronic. It could be it could be a notebook or something. They will do this all week. Then at the end of the week, probably you can just go into a restaurant or just take time out to sit down and then look at these things that you've noted down. Look at some trades that you took, what you did wrong, what you could have done instead, and take note of all these things. So when you see these mistakes, you're able to refine yourself, you're able to correct them. Because if you do not keep these records, there wouldn't have been any way you would have noticed these mistakes. So taking journals, having a journal or taking notes or journaling your trade is very, very important. In fact, it's one of the most vital things that every trader should incorporate in their trading journey, because without it, there won't be room for refinement, there won't be room for improvement.
Nancy, can you hear me? Looks
Yes, I
like you
can
broke
hear
off
you.
there. Can you hear? All right.
Oh,
So that's a super. All right, that's super exciting. Now, for me, I totally agree with. I totally agree with what you just said. I mean, like, how can you improve? I always liked one of my favorite phrases when it comes to when I'm sharing in my mentorship programs is, "You cannot improve." Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? So one of my favorite phrases, okay, and I also got this from like one of my trading mentors at the time I was starting out, was, "You cannot improve what you."
What's happening?
All right, and I think that this is a pretty important concept. It's a pretty important principle for traders to learn. The best traders actually can have trading journal that is in excess of, that is already running into years, that they are learning from every new day that they take in new trades. They have this trading. I mean, if you ask a lot of trading journal traders, where's your trading journal for the last 1 month? And you see a lot of traders struggle with providing that because of the hurry, the excitement to get into that next trade. And they now deny themselves a lot of times of the lessons that they could have learned from the previous trades that they've taken. So I don't know, Nancy, I don't know how you feel about, just a little bit. I know you do a lot of price action, right? I know you do a lot of price action. So there's usually like a couple of, you're smiling already. I can see. We talk about price action and you're smiling. I find that interesting. I find that interesting. You're already smiling. I wish I could put up a couple of before and after for Nancy. I mean, I think it's super exciting. A lot of your price action analysis, I think it's pretty impressive, especially considering. So tell me, when you think about price action, I mean, why do you find price action exciting? Why do you find price action exciting? Why do you
Okay,
find?
so all right. I find price action exciting because with price action, you are making decisions in the market based off of already existing patterns that keeps repeating itself. You are not trying to predict the market. You're not predicting the market, but we've seen these patterns play out times and times again. And with price action, learning and knowing how to identify these patterns, when you see them, you know that this is what is likely going to happen. And note I said what is likely going to happen because the market never provides you with certainty. Nothing is
Yeah,
100% sure. But then
yeah,
with these patterns, you know that this is what is likely going to happen. So it's really interesting that you can actually see these things, and most of the times it plays out the way it had played out in the past. So that's the interesting thing about price action. Unlike indicators or something, indicators
yeah,
well, I don't want to actually criticize indicator traders because
yeah,
I mean everybody does what works for them, but then I just find price action more interesting because here
yeah,
you're executing trade decisions based off of already existing patterns that keep repeating itself. So it's
yeah.
really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, one of the first principles of technical analysis, okay, which of course is about analyzing the chart, is that history tends to repeat itself. Is one of the and another principle is that all information is reflected in the price. These are key fundamental principles for analysts and people who get involved in analysis. And in as a matter of fact, one of the big challenges for a lot of traders is in terms of how they treat indicators. I've seen a lot of traders who treat indicators like the holy grail. In the record side trading course, as an example, I did a section on indicators. The record side trading course, by the way, for those of you who don't know about that, that's Swavely Market's full online course. It's an online course for folks who are just sort of getting involved, and we've got a number of strategies in there, fully recorded. You can learn that at your pace. Now, I did a section there that was talking about indicators, and I tried to explain what indicators are from what indicators are not, because I understand that certain traders treat indicators like the holy grail, like, oh wow, it's gonna, once it moves above this, then it's definitely gonna rise. Once it goes
Yeah.
below this, then it's definitely gonna fall. So moving beyond that kind of trading, okay, what I usually advise people to do, okay, and one of the things that we built into one of the strategies in the Rek'Sai trading course, we call it the Composite SL strategy. That strategy integrates core price action principles. We're talking about repeated patterns, popular repeating patterns, as well as indicators for maybe confirmations. As an example, there's certain kinds of indicators, for instance, that could be predictive as opposed to reactive. Okay, the large amount of indicators usually lag behind price. However, we can now have those indicators that maybe can predict, for instance, the use of say momentum indicators as an example, as to use to predict possible reversals. Oscillators as an example, difference between oscillators and price action, which is called divergence, to use for as a predictive tool as opposed as a reactive tool. So I find that it's very useful, and it's cool that I think that that you're mentioning this. That listen, we shouldn't treat indicators like the Holy Grail. We shouldn't treat it like the Holy Grail. Yeah, right. So one of the challenges that a lot of price action traders usually also face is this thing about time frames. You understand? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have some traders talk about, okay, what really is the best time frame to use when doing an analysis? What really is the time frame to use when doing an analysis? That's a question a lot of people usually bring about. I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, considering that there's multiple time frames on the chart, what do you think about that?
Okay, yeah, this is actually a question that most students of mine always ask. My advice is it's always good to start your analysis from higher time frames. It's always good to look at the bigger picture and then bring it down to the smaller time frames, because it's not good to just hop on your chart and you're looking at 1 hour or 30 minutes or 15 minutes and then you're executing a trade based on what they're saying. It's actually good to use a multi-time frame analysis method, which is looking at the bigger pictures, looking at what the higher time frames are saying, because those higher time frames means these things are taking time to form. These patterns are taking time to form. So when you look at the higher time frames, you can then determine what is happening and then bring it down to the lower time frames and then to the smaller time frames where you then take your entries or where you pull your buy
Yeah.
or sell your button. So it's good to look at bigger time frames. It's good to start your analysis from higher time frames. Let's say daily, depending on the kind of trader you are, of course. If you're a swing trader, then you know where you would take off your analysis from. If you're a scalper, you know where you take off your analysis from. But never execute a trade based on what lower time frames are telling you, because
Yeah.
lower time frames react to price in very short period of time. So it's always good to look at what the bigger time frames are saying. Are saying look at things from the bigger picture, then bring it down to the lower time frames, and then you can confidently execute your trades.
Okay, I'll tell you one thing that's very interesting. I'll tell you one thing that's very interesting in terms of like how, for instance, the composite SL strategy on the regular side trading course. Now, one of the key foundations of building that strategy was the use of multiple time frame analysis. Essentially, just pretty much what you've talked about. Looking at the bigger time frame, what you call the filter chart, which is like the bigger one that sort of helps you identify those key levels that you will not see when you're on the smaller time frame. A lot of people think you're on an uptrend. Meanwhile, on the bigger time frame, there's a very key resistance that you're approaching. So you got these people sort of, oh, this is an uptrend. I'm going to take this as an uptrend, but they don't step back to evaluate what the key levels on the higher time frames are. And a lot of times, they lose out on those trades, and I'm wondering what really is going on. And of course, for people who don't learn, who don't do those records and try to learn from those records, they miss out on the information that can give them. So going from the filter, this, by the way, is a world-class standard for traders. It's not just one trader. Because technical analysis at the end of the day is about you trying to use previous data to curate the future. Now,
Yeah,
in statistics, the more data you have, the better the trend, or the better the analysis. Okay, so it's a statistic that has like 2 or 3 components of data. It's not the same as the one that has 200 or 300 of component of data. So
yeah,
understanding those differences. So essentially, what you're saying, if I'm able to interpret it better, is that, hey, take in more data from the higher time frame, so you can really
yeah.
understand what's going on. Then you can drill down and say, okay, my specific entry is going to come at this point. So super, super, super excited. I mean, like, super excited. So again, you mentioned executing the trades on the shorter time frame, and I imagine that one of the reasons why you think that is to reward shorter time frame trades usually tend to give sort of better. I'm sure that's part of the things that you're talking about in terms of looking at that.
Yes, they give better entries. Yes,
Yeah, better entries that would have tighter stop loss and good risk to reward.
that's right.
All right, Nancy. I mean, I've been super, super excited. One of the things that we try to do with
Good.
this doesn't have to, it's super, super exciting. Wouldn't you agree? I believe that a lot of people will learn better, if not necessarily in like absolutely a serious sort of, oh, this is where we're entering right now. We just sort of share it and see how we learn over time. I don't know if any of our audience feels the need to, I've been putting up a lot of content comments. Of course, some of those comments are a function of some of the things that we're talking about. We've been talking about here. But if anybody on our audience also feels like just putting in stuff, or maybe you want to ask Nancy a question or something like that, or you want to ask me a question, we will be super excited to throw it in. Remember, for a lot of us, remember that if you're here, you're listening, and you've never traded before, and it's usually Nancy was mentioning just before we got started about the importance of mentorship. I don't know if you can who help you along the way, who actually has walked the world, who can actually help you along the journey. How important would you say that was for you, as an example? Can you hear me, Nancy?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, so I was saying that we were talking about this just before we got online earlier, and you were talking about the importance of mentorship. Okay, like going, so I don't know if you can just expound on that a little bit. Like, how important would you say? I mean, because as a matter of fact, folks can just go on the internet and try to glean off information. Yeah, it's like you can have a lot of that. But how important would you say like actual mentorship is?
It is
How important was it for you?
It was very important for me, and I think it is something very important for everyone. Yes, there are a whole lot of information on the internet. There are materials that you can browse. You can read a lot of things from Google and many articles and all that. But if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have someone who is actually directing your footsteps in this industry, well, you might get there eventually, but then it's going to take you a longer period of time, because you are going to end up reading everything you see on the internet. You're going to end up absorbing every information. And most of the times, it might actually confuse you, because what Article A says is different from what Article B says, which is different from what Article C says. So you need a mentor who is going to help you filter all this information. That's the need for the mentorship. Your mentor is going to help you filter all this information and give you only the ones that are very vital, the ones that you need to actually learn. Because if you end up learning everything, you would be, confusing yourself, and it's not good to over compartmentalize information. It only leads you to confusion. So you need a mentor. Your mentor is going to lead you, tell you what to read, what not to read, what to absorb, and what not to absorb. And when you eventually start trading, your mentor is going to be the same person that is going to tell you, look at what you're doing right, look at what you're doing wrong, correct this aspect, and then do this again. It's actually going to help you to improve. So you really need someone who's going to direct your footsteps in this industry. Because without it, you might actually, confuse yourself most of the time.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. All right, so we are now nearing the end of today's very exciting, very simple but short, but I want to believe that very exciting session with Nancy. Nancy's been just very amazing having you here, share with our community, and we certainly we were super excited. We learned a lot. It was great seeing another trader who has walked the path, who is walking the path. It's not has walked. It's not a history thing. You're still walking on a daily basis. We're looking forward to having more engagements like this as we continue to grow and as we continue to help the community grow. I'd like to say on behalf of myself and on behalf of the entire team here at Suavely Markets, we'd like to appreciate you for coming, Nancy. Really appreciate you. I would say a big thank you. Now, if you guys are here and you want to say thank you to Nancy in the background, you can put it up in the comment section. If you know that you got some value and you want to say thank you to Nancy, you can just say your thanks and give her the wishes, and we will be looking out for you. We'll be looking out for you. Maybe later on within our community, we can put up your social media handles, even if we can't, or you can just share it. What's your social media handle, Nancy? On face, maybe Instagram, you can share it. What's your Instagram handle? Folks are interested in following you. You can put it up.
Okay, my Instagram handle is at naturally Nancy underscore. There isn't much to do with Forex there, but it's just
Okay.
my personal Instagram
Okay, that's
handle.
like a personal handle. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that we will have a couple of folks maybe reach out to you from our community. We absolutely encourage that. We want to see more people. We want to see more collaborations and more learning within the
Yes.
community. So thank you very much. Now, guys, if you've been watching, we've been speaking with Nancy. We've been speaking with Nancy, and Nancy. Okay, so there's the question Cosmos is asking: can mentoring be done online or is offline? So one of the things that I, for instance, as you know, Cosmos, you probably know that we run the Professional Mentorship Initiative, which is like a 7 weeks mentorship course for people within our community, and we handle that throughout. One of the things we've seen is that it's very difficult to be able to achieve the logistics of mentoring each person one-on-one. However, when we have the utilization of technology the way we have it, as you can see, when we started out the call, we had people from different parts of the country. So I mean, it will be technically very difficult for us to be able to achieve that. But hey, with technology right now, and especially considering that what we're doing is online, we will. I believe that we will be able to actually use these technology, and we have been doing it, and a lot of people have learned. I mean, just before I got on, I was sharing with one of our mentees, and it's just amazing when you watch. For me personally, very fulfilling when you watch people go from just struggling or not knowing anything at all to actually being very good an analyst and being very successful. So it's super, super, super exciting. So that's in answer to your question. Now, just before I go, guys, for a lot of folks are saying thank you, Nancy, and I'm sure you can see everything. All right. So I'm sure a lot of folks were super excited.
Yeah.
I personally. Okay, so Cosmos is saying I'm trying to find Nancy on social media, but I can't find her. What's her handle? So we'll see if we can put. Nancy has already shared that her handle is a little bit private, but I'm going to see if we can share it. Nancy, maybe this is a call for you to set up an entirely different handle for the purpose of Forex. I think
Yeah.
that I'm sure that you take that pretty seriously. Now, guys, just before we go, let's just share. And Joshua, if you have that, I think we can just share about what we've been able to do now with the Rexite trading course. Okay, I know a lot of us here might not even have properly explored what the Swavely markets interface on the back end is looking like right now, because we have actually been able to do a lot from even the last times that we did that we started out. So if you're on the Swavely Markets website, you can or if you can get up on there at some time, your markets will come. The courses put up instead. Okay, so for instance, we've got the 24-hour trading course up on the website. The full information of what the learning modules for these courses are fully put up there on the website. So we've got the mentorship. For those of you who have followed us, you would know that we have a 7 weeks mentorship. But outside of the 7 weeks mentorship, we've got the Recordite trading course. Now, guys, we've been able to use technology to bring this Recordite trading course to you. So what that means is that day in, day out, at your convenience, you can just log up on the website and begin to take all of those learning. Okay, so I just wanted to just wrap up in sharing with you guys. You can check out swavelymarkets.com. Okay, that's swavelymarket.com. You can go check that out. That's swavelymarkets.com. And for the website trading course, by the way, because of the fact that we had a lot of people who decided we showed interest, okay, in the courses. Let me see if this is the link. So I'm putting that up here right now. Okay. And by the way, guys, I think one of the interesting things that we did was to ensure that all of this stuff was, folks could learn, folks physical place. Okay, so you guys might want to check that out, swavelymarkets.com/courses. You'll find all the courses there fully. We have a full-fledged learning management solution up on the website. Now, it would have been really difficult for composite SL strategy using price action, some of the tools that the best price action traders actually use, some of the tools that our guest, as an example, has out at the requisite trading course. Now, normally, a lot of those courses are significantly more expensive, but we've used technology to make sure you can get up on it, okay, and be able to access it. So check it out. And if you have any questions, you can also reach out to any of our persons, any of our staff here. On behalf of everyone, this is where we call it quits for today, guys. One of the biggest firms, if you lived in Cameroon or if you had transactions in Cameroon, you would understand how big this gentleman we're going to be bringing on is. Super, super exciting. Mr. Malcolm is he's got stint as a bank trader. Okay, he traded with Citibank. Okay, he's also got the CFA level 3. If you know what that means in the world of finance, you'd understand. He's got experience with fixed income, with so essentially a lot of the times when you're trading, you're hearing stuff like trading alongside the big money. I'm sure you hear that. If you trade, you hear that a lot. So one of the things Malcolm would come and share with us, and of course he would share this because of the relationship that we have, is what exactly does that big money mean? Where are that you're learning and developing more? Nancy, if you want to say a final bye-bye to our community, that'd be exciting. This is Eve from us here tonight.
All right, thank you. It's been really exciting, conversing with you guys tonight. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you very much for having me. And for everybody who attended, who showed up, I'm really thankful. Thank you for showing up. And just try to absorb everything that we said and make sure to become the best trader that you can be. And that is when you find success in the Forex market. Thank you very much.
Okay, then. Okay, so it's good night from here, guys. Have a good evening. Bye for now.